Hello, man. Get the sound here. Hello, man. There we go. Got a few things to do here. Usually I try to dick around for a couple minutes because, YouTube and all that. Hello, man. Saturday afternoon. Nice. Is it Saturday afternoon? Yeah, it's Saturday afternoon. Nice sunny day. I was out today looking for a playpen for Dougie. I know. A little yellow 46. Yeah, I was out looking for a playpen for my blind and deaf dog, and no success. I was internet looking. I was out looking, but hello, RP. So still with no luck. I was hoping on finding one. You people just don't have any use for the playpens anymore, and I figured that'd be perfect to put Dougie in at night because he got the plastic bottom, and he's blind and deaf and constant. And I've got him in his pen, but I want to get him like out where I can see him and everything, and I can watch him because he gets in trouble. But yeah. So that's what my day is. We stopped out. We got some prime rib today. Did some man stuff. Big fatty chunks of prime rib, and some zinc to get the testosterone up and start flushing the testosterone out pretty soon, and all that good stuff men do. So Saturdays for men. Hello, Riff. Hello, everybody that's in. So we're going to talk about today. Men are guilty for being men. We all know this feeling. We all know this thing that happens. It's the butler did it. The butler did it. What does that mean when we say the butler did it? It's from 1950s crime thrillers. The butler did it. It was just the closest person to the person that had something happen to him is automatically assumed that he did it. I'll just read what I put in the. I'll read what I put in a low bar. Most men are not perpetrators. No, they're not the perpetrators. In fact, there's common risk factors are found that some of the risk factors that are found is just being male, and that's black, white, white men, black men. We often hear black men just being a black male, they get accused of a lot of things. They get driving along through city streets and they're seen. It's the butler did it. That goes far beyond. That goes far beyond just getting a traffic ticket or like me getting pulled over in my van simply because I own a white van. The creepy white van guy. It must be has a bunch of bitches locked up in the back. And I don't know how many tickets I've gotten over the year and how many times I've been checked and illegally searched. And this, especially when I used to talk to the contractors and everything, when the creepy white guy in the creepy white guy in the right white van scare was on. And it's just I don't even know if it's false flags or what you would call that. Cops just randomly pull us over, and you will get accused for being a black man for driving while black through a white neighborhood, or being a male. Anytime something violent happens in your neighborhood, if you are a white male between 28 and 36, you will be looked at. Because that's how they profile. They profile men in that way. How does this thing go out? How does this thing? It's not just. It just doesn't happen inside of a vacuum where all of a sudden you're thinking, or the FBI's thinking, or neighbors and friends and family are thinking. That's just it must be him. He's the closest person to that, and he's white, he's male, he fits all the profiling stuff. A lot of men, there's many a men in jail right now that was accused faultlessly, without an honest trial, without an honest investigation, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. I wanted to pull up a screenshot of what I wanted to show you, and have we lost all our rights as males in this? Have we lost all of our rights as males in this society? I think so. Men will get accused. Hello, Aaron. And men will get accused without any evidence at all if something happens around you. It's another risk factor for men. We have to talk about the risk factors for men. One of the risk factors for being a male is if you're somewhere where something happens, you're going to be looked at. You're automatically you're going to be looked at. If you're a black male between a certain age, and you will be looked at. If you're a white male between 23 and 32, or whatever it was, by the FBI profiling, if anything happens in your neighborhood, you're going to be looked at. Let's screen share. Let me go find this first, and let me go to the page. And there's a story that just came out, and I was reading it, and it was on the Google. I googled. It came up on my Google as and there's a infinity screen. I can't really tell what that's and then let me stop the stupid guy from talking. There we go. It's Oregon man arrested, charged with murder and the disappearance of his 3-year-old child. And the mom and the child. The mom and the child disappeared. Let me close that out so it doesn't come up. And let me find my little scroll thing. Police have arrested a 52-year-old man that was charged with they charged him with murder. They charged him with murder under the disappearance of the child and the mother, Christina Farwell, 25, and his son William, 20, who goes by Billy, and relatives reported it. There was some strange thing about the relatives reported it when she didn't immediately answer a text that was sent to her. That's the young lady there in question, and authorities have charged Michael John Wolf. What was his crime? His crime was being a man and being the man's father. And I doubted when I first looked at Michael Wolf. I was like, oh man, that's not the father. Look at that blonde-haired, brown-eyed little child, probably hazy gray eyes. Although he was charged with elevated, it doesn't mean. Here's where it gets weird. Although we have charged Mr. Wolf with aggravated murder. I gotta say that. My mouth is dry. I just came into the inside, and let me take a sip of pop there. With aggravated murder, it does not mean that William and Clarissa are dead. So there's no body. Nobody knows what happened to him. Salem Police Lieutenant Trevin Upkeep said in a conference that they really have no outstanding evidence in this guy. You know what the evidence is? The evidence is that he said, this isn't my baby, and she was trying to collect. She's a single mom. She was trying to collect child support, and the Oregon Health and Human Services said, you're going to have to pay child support. This has been going on 3 years, and he said, no, that's not my baby. I'm not a father. I don't know what you're talking about. They said he's going to have to pay, but I'm not sure that DNA was ever taken because, and you know how those things work out. They won't take DNA. They'll just say it on his, because this guy's got brown hair, brown eyes. That baby's, that mother's right there. She's got red hair, blue eyes, or gray eyes and green eyes. He's got gray eyes and blonde hair. Oh, yeah, I would start doubting whether that was my child or not. Where'd that blonde hair come from? So what happened here is they went to child services and say, who's the responsible parent? And this guy was obviously cucked or whatever into this stuff. And they said, well, this is the guy. And they went and got all kinds of warrants, and they searched all kinds of things in his house. And without any evidence, they said, well, it must be this guy because he just refuses to pay his child support. So you're guilty as the man. You're the closest thing in that child's life to anything. The butler did it. It must be him. Now we see this all the time. The butler did it. It must be him. There's it on Twitter, and I'll close that out. And I'm going to come home now and close this out. And then you can see my pretty face again. Stop screen sharing. There I am. So we see how these things play out, and we see how the feminine narrative that they frame, that all men are guilty of something. What are you guilty of? Most of the time, it's all men are guilty of rape, POV. Sex is always rape in their eyes. All men are guilty of being fathers, which father is a made-up word. All men are guilty of they want to cut our penises off. They want to, anytime anything happens, it's all men's fault. Anytime she gets pregnant, it's men's fault, even though she made the decision to get pregnant. No agency in these things, no agency. And we look at crime stats and everything. There's no difference in crime stats between males and females. There's no difference in crime stats between females that kill and males that kill. There is no difference between, and most of the time in these cases where the mother and son just disappear, she ran off with the real father. Doesn't that make any sense? She ran off with the real father. She's not answering because she's ashamed. Now, that's what I would automatically come to. Until I have some evidence of this, I can't do nothing. I can't make any charges. I put a Google notice onto that thing. So I want to know the way this thing plays out, if it ever plays out, or if they just arrested this guy and they were screwing it. But it asked me a lot. There's a lot of questions in this about the way our criminal system works. Can you get the guy was arrested for murder with no evidence. You go before a grand jury with no evidence, and all you got to do is say, "Hey, there's no evidence here." And then the grand jury says, "Okay, how did you get that grand jury indictment? How did you come to the summation logically that this guy did it?" Well, he was guilty of being white, and he was guilty of being a man. That's how they came. He's a white male, and he's the white knights and the cucks are like, "Hey, he's a white male that was arguing a paternity of a child." What an evil man, arguing the paternity. You should just give her money. And he was a wealthy man, because you look at his farm, you look at his car, you look at his aerial views of his camper, his house, his farm. He was doing very well. How did he meet this girl? She was a 25-year-old girl, half his age, more than half his age. How did he meet this girl? Did she set him up? Why would it? And that's what we see in a lot of these comments. We go back and you read these comments, and it's always, "Oh, that evil man." Madoff, I have a micro penis. Madoff's yeah. That's funny. That's a funny comment. I don't ban funny comments, but it's funny. So that's what men are, and this starts at a micro level from what the feminist narrative is and what the narratives are in society. It starts at, anytime there's something going to happen, anytime there's something that was questioned, and even though it may not be a crime. Anytime there was who ate the cookies, well, it's the dude, because the fat ass dudes always eat the fucking cookies. And it starts like that. It's these micro things. All men are guilty. We see it all the time on Twitter, and all the argument that there is, it's all men's fault. It's the abortion argument. You men make us pregnant. No, we didn't. You choose to get pregnant. Your body gets pregnant. Mine doesn't. I can't have a baby. But there has to be a responsible party in here. Who was the responsible party? Well, it was some dude that just happened to have property and was doing well for himself. Must be. And any kind of DNA test, I would question nowadays, because they just want a man on the hook. They just want a man on the hook so they don't have to pay that. And I look at these religious rights states like that, like Oregon, and I wonder, this is what's going to happen, man. We go too far down the religious rights in these states, and we go far right on this stuff. All men will be held responsible for everything financially. Every man will be held responsible for everything woman, and they'll pretend. They'll do that pretend thing where she's a strong, independent woman without agency, because somehow we took that agency. It wasn't her choice to lay down and have sex. You could do the Jedi mind trick on them because they're so stupid. That's what they're saying. And it becomes insulting to my intelligence. There's some magic bonds, some pair bonding, it's just, that's what happens, and you connect, and you got magic fingers that come out of and they're electric magic fingers or something, and you can't see them, and they just grab hold of her brain parasitically, and it goes like that, and it crunches it and goes, you're mine now. The Jedi mind tricks that us men do. And it's about metaphysical thinking, and it starts all in religionistic metaphysical garbage. Now that's the far other side of the problem we have that we rarely talk about here in Mgtow, the cuckservatives. The cuckservatives want the women barefoot naked in the kitchen and getting yelled at every day. They think that's a wonderful thing as long as someone spreads for the V out, produces a few children, and cooks their dinners, which is freaking insulting. But with that comes a lot of response. Oh, they're like, I'll take that. They're like the purple pill guys. They're like, oh, I'll take that responsibility. I'll take a couple of those kids as long as I get to hit that. Woo! And like Nikochowski says, man, if you had any experience with women at all, you would know that the juice ain't worth that squeeze, because that will be a squeeze. All in all, that will be a squeeze. But in our society, we have laws. We have laws that are based on these illogical, irrational garbage, and that you are having a baby. You're not having a baby. She's having a baby. And I believe in no women's rights. I believe that they have every bit as much agency as we do. And when she opens those legs, she's 100% responsible and 100% accountable for her body. And it's her choice. 100%. I'll agree with that. But with that comes the delusional bullshit that somehow we did Jedi mind tricks on them. We didn't do that. Yeah, the conservatives want a slave. Now that's the other far set of we often hear the liberal cucks, how the liberal cucks act, and then we got the conservatives on the other side, and we got cuck liberals on one side. And and people ask me, why are you so middle of the road, Joe? Because there's clowns to the left of me and clowns to the right. You ever hear that song? Clowns to the left of me, clowns to the right, but I'm stuck in the middle with poo. That's what I feel. I'm sitting here on a big pile of shit that these assholes have made. Varnica said that. Man, I'm sick of cleaning shit off of everything. It was one of his books, Slaughterhouse 5, beginning passages. I'm sick of cleaning shit off of everything. I'm sick of it being my responsibility. I'm sick of somebody telling me that we're pregnant. We're not pregnant. She is, and she has agency. She's a strong woman. If she decides that for herself, she can do that on herself. Let's not include these religionistic marriage things that we're paying for out of our taxes, these family courts that are just big religionistic churches where they can hold men responsible for everything that happens, for everything that goes wrong. And that's quite a weight on your back, and men are starting to reject that. I know. I've been removing carbs from my diet, and I have to drink the diet zero. Zero is the only thing that tastes halfway decent. I was out all day. We were trying to find a playpen for Dougie. We were trying to find I got to find a playpen for Dougie. I need a playpen so I can put him in the living room when I fall asleep on the couch and shit, or put him near where I can watch him at night. And I got to have that plastic bottom in case he decides to be Dougie. I got him all locked up in the back room by the back door where he can go in and out, but he's just blind, and he bumps into the dryer, and he bumps in there. So I can't make everything non-sharp. I can't child-proof my house for a dog that's a foot and a half high. It's like impossible. Yeah, women want slaves, and they want to have us. We are owned by the system, right? It's a lot of garbage that's based on total absurdity. like I said, the absurdity that we're having a baby. Yeah, my DNA is just copied in that. The original DNA dies off. There's nothing about me after the two sister spell, after the two sister cells split. Only thing that even DNA itself is just a count. They get features of us because they copied our DNA. That doesn't make us fathers. We're not having a baby. I can't have a baby. It's still her body doing it 100%. 100%. Or maybe it's 99.99%. I'll take responsibility for this much, for that original DNA. That is my DNA. But DNA is a metaphysical thing. It's not a real thing. It's a simple count. And like she gets all agency stripped from her at that point. She gets, it's like, oh, no responsibility at all. Like man, he did that freaking Jedi mind trick on me and made me pregnant. It's like we're the parasitical wasps. That's what they're saying to us. We're parasitical wasps. And we just run around and just boom, there it is. I just took your agency away from you. No, it doesn't happen like that with humans. She has to invite it. She has to seek it out. She has to approve it. She has to look at it, make sure it's the DNA that her body and her mind, it matches diversity. Whew. Otherwise, she knows if if there's something too close to her, if it looks exactly like her, no, she will reject that, and her body will reject that. That's what sexual diversity is. Her body rejects those things that are too close in biology, and it won't even start in her body, and she'll have a miscarriage. But trying to teach that stuff to social or people that are too into the social aspects of diversity is just, it's like, wow, what do you really think diversity is? I mean, it's not a Chinaman, it's not a black guy, it's biological diversity. I actually had gotten hit too hard. I paid $200 a month for 2 kids, but I went to a courtroom and man, he called him a bunch of criminals. Oh man, yeah. So it's our culture, and until we start changing our culture, until every person, until every man at least wakes up and they just do this thing where they argue against the attempt to justify discriminatory attitudes is what we're talking about. With every time we get blamed for something, it's an attempt to justify discriminatory biases and attitudes by feminism that really, really, they like the way it is. They like the men having to be responsible 100%. They like they like it. They take no. They'll often say they're strong, and it's their choice, and they have all this agency. But on the other end, they flip flop on that, and it's just an attempt to justify the discriminatory attitudes against males. Males have no right. You can't say, "I want to abort. I want to financially abort." They'll laugh at you, and they even want to. They even want to take their right to abort. And I'll say, if you want your right to abort and you want me to be on your side with that, then let's give me the right to financially abort too. And then that makes sense to me. I get something out of that. Men should have the right. People that don't want to be parents make bad parents. Is that surprising to anybody? People that don't want to be parents make bad parents, and people that don't understand where babies come from are just stupid, and really they shouldn't be parents if they're just that stupid. There's always impulses within feminism, and it's very childish to blame the man for everything. There's where's my scroller here? They'll violently argue these things, and they'll get white knights and cucks to share that same delusion with them that we're having a baby, and there's some honor in it. And I was just reading a book today. honor codes, and I often talk about honor codes with Southern violence and honor codes, and how honor codes. There's a lot to learn in this thing with honor codes, and that's one of the things that you will be held to as a man. There's barbaric, chivalrous honor codes that go on underneath our society all the time, with the white knights, with the man up movement, with the Health and Human Services. This just doesn't stay within conversation between two people. This moves out into the bigger norms of our society. And then there's these impulses to violently inflict your honor code on somebody else, and it's when morality gets tipped on its head. It's all these Christians do that. They tip morality on us, said, we're so good, we're going to hold you to these honor codes of religious values, and a good man would just accept that. A good man would say, even though it's lunacy that you're a father and it's just a made-up word, a good man will just accept that it's an honor code. And if you don't, we'll hurt you, we'll put you in jail, we'll crush you. That's when morality gets turned on his head. You become the rebel in those, and you rebel against the lunacy and the absurdity of society. I don't know what Camus would say about this if he lived in today's modern day world, but he would say that's absurd. And if he knew if he knew the biology of babies, and if they knew exactly, I don't think they knew back then. It's a moral action that they use that's an inhumane action or reaction to an honor code. And them are the things we have to get all men on board with. That's why we talk about the white knight all the time. And the white knight is the worst of all. He's the man that will take his morality and turn Zoroaster and go honor code on you for no good reason, and it's absurdity. And he will violently try to make you do what he wants. And that's the white knight. Most of the men get targeted for these social actions too. What made this woman pick a 57-year-old man in a bar when she was a 25-year-old semi-attractive woman? She's semi-attractive, I'll say, for this. What would make, men get targeted for these honor codes in moral society. And that's what we talk about here in Mgtow. I wanted to read you guys some of these, if I can get some of these comments. I don't know. Let me see. Follow comments. No, I wanted to read some of these comments in this thing, but I'll have to find another one. But they all reflect this honor code. It all reflects an honor code. And I'm going to do some more videos and probably do some more reading in the past about how our values reflect honor codes, something that's metaphysical, something that's religious in its value, and how those honor codes gets turned on. It's okay to defend a woman as long as you're breaking a man's head. It's okay to bloody up a man as long as a woman's honor is intact. These things are barbaric, and it goes back to the age of chivalry, and they make no sense. And it's just pea-brain male, barbaric, lizard brain stuff just happening, and we can't control it. And that's any man that would do that, be the white knight. Any man, he's just telling on himself. He's saying, I'm still Neanderthal, and I can't control these actions that come from my lizard brain. Because if you honestly looked at honor codes and you dissected them, you would see that basically most of this stuff is based on absurdity, on religious absurdity. Most of our laws are based on religious absurdity and the ifs and the buts and the mights. I always use they put stop signs and speed limits on my road of 25 miles an hour. And every morning for 30 years, I go up there at 35 miles an hour and I never killed a person. But the law says if you go over this speed limit, you might hurt somebody, which is absurdity. It's absurd. It's total absurdity. And there's ifs and mights and ifs and mights. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how Louis Stevenson would say that. If it was so, it might be so. And if this was, but it ain't. And that's just logic. There's a lot of ifs and mights and coulds in this world. And a lot of this stuff in law, in the legal profession, and we can see it in our politics, and we can see it in our laws, has gone way out of whack. And we have to get back to those excuse the fuck out of me. We have to get back to these things of logic. It has to be logic and truthful in our society, and start omitting the religious and start omitting how you're feeling about that, because that has nothing to do with nothing. Feelings have nothing to do with nothing. But as I was traveling through my day today, I had a pretty good day. It was nice and sunny outside. I was thinking you could see a little redness, a little, because I was, man, I got to get some vitamin D, because in Ohio, we don't have the sun that much. And this time of the year, so I went out and I just put my face up to the, sun, and I rolled up my sleeves, and I was like, oh man, that just feels good. The sun on my face. And Dougie's out there right now. He's sleeping in a corner. He's going to get a bath after this. And he's trying to postpone his bath, because I said the word and he heard it, and he's cowering behind the flower pots out there, and he's trying to postpone his bath, but he's gonna get one. So it was a really nice day. I don't know what that is, but I'll approve it. And so I just stopped by to say Dougie's going to get a bath. He is going to get a bath. He stinks. I mean, he went out and he rolled in some leavy, muddy, probably a lot of urine in it area, some feces probably, and he's just rolling in it. And dogs like to disguise their scent with the scent of the world. And I was like, man, a blind deaf dog, and he still does stupid things like that. Oh, you in Ohio, ATP, I am on New York. A few of us are New York. I say, yeah, New York. I'm from Ohio. There's a few guys from Ohio around my neighborhood. She is programmed against fault. Mad Ozzy, but Justin, you don't understand. Emily killed my horse. I don't know what that's about, but it's kind of funny. So when we look at, are we guilty of just being men? Is it just easier to blame us because somebody has to be held responsibility? Somebody has to take agency, and men naturally have agency. They naturally have responsibility. They take care of these things. It just gets so much easier for the law, the lean on the side of the woman, and that's gynocentrism in its explanation. The law has a tendency to err on the side of women just because they're women. There's a gender bias in that. And if men don't wake up to that, a lot of men will go to jail for nothing. And it's this poor guy, he's being investigated right now. He probably cares about the kid, and the only crime was to be the closest thing to it. The butler did it. Yeah, dogs do disgusting things sometimes. I've seen some things dogs do that turn that'll basically turn your stomach. And Dougie's no different. He's still a dog deep down inside, and he's deaf and blind. I really got to find that playpen for him. I'm trying to find one of those big ones, not the little porta playpens that you carry around with you. You know, the moms carry around with her in the back of the car, because those are too small. I wanted to get Dougie some full size 48 by 48 playpen length in there with the screening that kind of you can bounce off the screening, so he doesn't hurt his head. I fear he gets real close to poking himself in the eye with a lot of the stuff that I got around. Is he just runs into it, and I hate for him to get like a wound again. Toxic males everywhere, huh, Suthi? Yeah, that's what you would believe. But feminists spin this narrative, and it's a convenient narrative of men. It's a convenient narrative that assists in their plight not to have that accountability which they desire, that agency which they desire. Now, in a perfect world, in a perfect feminist world, the women would just wake up in the morning and she would say, I'm in total control of myself. I am not going to get pregnant because I'm not going to open my legs to some random guy and he can't do the Jedi mind trick on me. And that would be the perfect And when I do have a baby, it will be my choice and it will be my baby. And it will be my choice. And if I want to have a volunteer father, I'll take a volunteer father. That would be because that's what I would do if I could have babies. I would say it's 100% my choice. And I don't want you around. I don't want nobody around. That's my baby. It's my choice. It comes from my body. And I have agency over my decisions. Men don't fly around like wasps and sneak into bedrooms and then mysteriously impregnate women. That's aggressive mimicry. But if you looked at the narrative that's spun in the media and the narrative that's spun, and I wanted to do some of those comments because you can see it. It was like, oh, that filthy man comment. It's like, oh, these men, but there was no evidence. There's only like 3 or 4 men on there that said, hey, wait a second, something doesn't add up here because there's no evidence. We don't have no bodies. And most of the time, when a mother and a baby disappear, she took off. And I remember in the 60s, a lot of women took off. In the 70s, a lot of women, nobody said, hey, did you kill her? Or did she just take off? My mother took off in the 70s. No one said to my father, did you kill her? But in today's environment, the first thing what'd you do? What'd you do to her? You did something. You must have did something. You made her mad. Did you make her angry? The biggest crime nowadays is making a girl angry. And it is a crime nowadays. You hear it with Terrence Popp. He jokes all the time. You hear it from me. I'll joke. The biggest crime. What'd you do? Make a girl angry? Because that is a crime nowadays. And that's guilty, presumed guilt of males based on an honor code. That's based on religialistic garbage. And I know that's intersectional, but it just happens to be true. And I don't want to be that guy in this world. And I don't want my son to be that guy in this world that has the stress of all that risk. I don't want future men to have stress of all that risk. I just want people to get freaking normal. Get back to being freaking normal. I don't know if it's cell phone EMF waves or or RFA waves or whatever. We're coming up on the age of 5G coming up. I'm getting one. I asked them if they had it yesterday, but it wasn't in my area. And I'm getting rid of my cable. I'm cutting the cable as soon as that comes. That's 300 MEPs. Sure, yeah, I want 5G. But I don't know what's wrong with the world. And I think we all should stop and say, hey, there's something wrong with the world right now because people are acting too freaking bizarre. Maybe we need to have a big hand in hand across the world and give like a big metaphysical hugs, stop everything for 1 second so we can start asking questions about why. I don't want to go too far down the conspiracy theory road. Maybe RF. I'm going to get an RFA tent. Do you ever see them? They got them now. They do. I seen one. They got the RFA tents that block microwaves, and it blocks microwaves, it blocks RFA waves, and it blocks electromagnetical waves from around your bed. And you can put these things that are silver oxide coated, and you can put one under your bed. And I was thinking, what I was looking for. I live on a fault. And most people don't know that this area is a fault because it's next to Lake Erie, and there was a volcanic back 2 million years ago. There was volcanic activity here, and then those volcanic and once in a while when I'm sleeping at night, I can feel the little rumbling, and I can feel the magnetic waves, and maybe I'm just sensitive to that. So I wanted to put a mat down underneath my bed, so maybe I could get a good night's sleep around here. But that's something I'm going to have to do a little more research on that. Does it stop 5G? Yeah. What about 6G? What about 7G? Them things that just scorch your head. It's like, I can't remember what movie that was in where he turns on his cell phone, puts it up to his ear. It was a comedy movie, and his brain just explodes, and he's like, "Ooh, that is true." I don't know if that's true, but I'm beginning to think there's something wrong with the world. Maybe there's too many people. Maybe things have to be explained. Maybe we have a shortage of good education, and I think that would help educating the women. Educating, the first thing is, hey, you're going to have to be responsible for the things in your life. And the father didn't, there's no Jedi mind tricks, and there is no pair bonding Jedi thing between people. And if you as a female open up those legs and choose, you take the agency to open up those legs, make that decision, your body, your choice, and you get pregnant, that will be your child. And I've seen that so many times in the news article. They said mother and her child. They never referred to the child as the male's child, because it'd be lunacy to refer to that. So in this general sense, you can see that the press and these people know in back of their mind that men don't have children. But they don't want to take that they don't want to take that out of the dark and bring it into the light and say, no, men don't have children. Men don't have children. You can't have. Sorry, guys, we're not having a baby. She is. It's hers 100%. And she 100% made that decision. Now, there's other considerations. Why were they dragging this guy through the court? Why was he fighting it? Was he dupe dad? Yeah, I think he was a dupe dad. Was he angry about that? Probably. Probably at 50-some years old, you're looking at your ranch. You're looking at everything you bought in life, and that's now at risk. And that's what we try to tell people. Don't put yourselves at that risk. If you're a Mgtow, you don't want to put them rubbers that we have to buy, them condoms, man, they got to be a 1/4 inch thick. Oh man, there ain't nothing that's going to keep us. We can't get, there's no male birth control. You're under huge amounts of risk when you involve yourself. And we can see most men saying that to themselves. Hey, I don't want to go down that road because I don't want to lose all my shit, and I'll lose all my future shit too. That's a future shit. You lose all your future stuff. And that's the big one. Every one of those Siemens come with a contract attached to them. Oh. But I want what feminism wants too. I want them to be strong girls. I want them to have agency. But I don't want that fake agency. I want them to say, yeah, I'm 100% responsible. I can have the baby. You can't. You're just a DNA donor, and there's nothing about you inside this baby. It's just a picture. It's just a photograph. That's my new phone. Oh, did I tell you what I did with my phone? My new phone. I had to go out and buy a phone. Yeah. And a brand new phone. Yeah. You know why? Because I was standing there making macaroni and cheese. And you get the milk part, and then you get the butter part. You put the milk in, and you put the butter in, and you get it to a nice rolling boil, and then you turn it off, and you start adding the cheese, and well, I added my phone, and it fell in there, and it was super hot. I was making 2 packs, and it was about this much at the bottom of the pan, and I was making 2 packs, and because Dougie likes to eat macaroni and cheese too, so it just drowned it in there, and I went to reach down. Oh, my automatic impulse was to reach down in there and grab it, but it was boiling hot, buttery milk water. And I pulled it out of there. I got the fork. I got the little fork thing. I couldn't find the little fork thing while it's boiling in there. My phone's boiling in the macaroni and cheese and the sauce. And I pulled it out, and I wiped it off, and I still ate the macaroni and cheese because I'm a dude, and no dude would ever throw macaroni and cheese away. And then I was like, oh, this might not work after that. And I tried to charge it. I took it apart, washed it down with the spray that you buy, but I charged it up, and the charger got all hot. So I had to buy a phone the other day. It was like $111 with the deal. And I was like, oh, that sucked. So that was the first time I ever actually busted a phone in my life. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about the same thing as I always talking about, and we can connect all these things back to the same thing. It all goes back to the same thing all the time. It all goes back to female agency, and I'll support you on that thing. If you support men's right to say the truth, and the truth is I can't have a baby. I never could. And, you could do your abortion thing. Your body, your choice. You do whatever you want, but don't come looking for me after that. It's a simple choice you make, and it's 100% your accountability, responsibility. I'm not a father. Never wanted to be a father. Most men don't want to be fathers because they see the absurdity and the lunacy in that. Rubbish. Emily says she's naked, guys. That's weird. Yeah. I go free balling around my house because there's no one around here. I like to go free balling myself once in a while. Which is quite a sight. The modern world of demure paradise. Yeah. Yeah, it's all absurdity, and it's crazy, and we need to get together on these things rather than going with the religious far right garbage of in metaphysical land, men are responsible for everything, and you're not, and you just man up and honor up. And those are honor codes, and honor codes always lead to violence, and men always turn. They wonder why it's a violent world out there. You like the honor codes and these things, but you don't like the violence that comes from the honor codes. And then the men take those same honor codes into politics, and they become institutionalized honor codes. And then we have wars. Now, the logical thing to do with this is from biology, take those honor codes, explain to men that it's not their baby. They can volunteer for fatherhood, and they can unvolunteer for fatherhood. And it would be a better society. Men would learn. These aren't our, there's nothing about that that's mine. We'll go on our way. We'll build buildings, we'll do shit with trucks. We like doing shit with trucks. And we'll go around and we'll keep building this society. But as long as we have honor codes will progress. So that's what my video is about today. It's about getting rid of male honor codes. And that starts with the religionistic garbage that you're fed every day in that school. You got to start teaching kids at a young age, little boys and little girls, hey, little girl, you have parts. And those parts make babies. And you're responsible for those babies. And hey, little boys, you're the builders. You're Bob the builders. We're going to build apartments. We're going to build beautiful things. And that idea, we can live in a communal sense. But religion takes over that, and and simping and white knighting starts, and they all go back to those same honor codes. The simp is the simp, and the white knight is the white, and there's cackling hyenas and beggars that would do anything for that. And that's all honor codes. But damn it, I just wanted to come on and talk about on a Saturday and say hello to all my friends. Hello, Kyle. Hello, Riff. Hello, Mr. Hate Vicious. Hello, Ruben. Hello, Mgtow Misfit and Taryn and all the men that stopped by today. I think I'm about done with my podcast now. I'm done ranting on. I feel like I've been ranting on about this subject for 15 years, and I have. And I have for 20 years, for 25 years almost. And I'm getting no headway. And I'm getting no headway, but men are waking up faster nowadays. Men are getting it. They're getting the risk. They're getting the I get accused, the guilty before innocent thing. They're starting to see it, and maybe the internet has a lot to do with that. They're seeing their fathers getting dragged through the mud. They're seeing the awful behavior of the white knights and the simps, and people are starting to put those questions together in their mind. What is this thing that I'm seeing? What promotes this thing? Anytime you see a white knight or a simp, you start asking, what is it that I'm seeing? I don't know what that is, my new phone. but that's about it, guys. That's all I wanted to talk about, and that's all I wanted to say today. And the answer, the cure to this thing is right here, what we're doing. The answer and the cure is Mgtows and learn. And Mgtow cures everything in the world. The world would be a beautiful place to live if all men were allowed to do their Mgtow. But like I said, there's people that out there that want slaves. They want men to be that way. They want men to think stupidly about how this thing works. They want men to buy into the religious values. And that's about it. That's all I got to say. And I'll let you guys go. And like always, thanks for coming around, man. And most of all, thanks for being Mgtow. Mgtow.